Hi, I'm Ken and I'm lead designer for Melrose International. Today we're going to talk about bow making. Bow making is one of the simplest things there is to do, but it's so difficult for so many of us, and it doesn't need to be. I'm here to share with you a few tips to simplify your life and make it easier for you to make a bow. And before you get started doing any project, you need to be organized. You need to have everything in front of you because there's nothing worse than start making a bow and then find out you don't have a wire to tie it with or you don't have your scissors to cut it off, and then you have to put it down and start all over. So let's get organized and be prepared. You're going to need scissors, you're going to need wire, cable tie, maybe a piece of string or a pipe cleaner chenille stem to tie off your bow. Any one of those elements will work. And we're going to need a glue gun today. Now, I'll explain to you where the glue gun comes in later, but we're going to start with just a simple bow. And I've got some random ribbons here, and I'm just going to start with this one because I really like this ribbon. We have so many wonderful patterns for the holiday season every year. And this ribbon is a bright, colorful candy cane pattern, and it's just beautiful. And to start your bow, what you're going to do is take the end of it and you need to gather it, and you're going to hold it in your opposite hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold it in my left hand between my thumb and my index finger and my middle finger. So those three fingers are the pivotal point where you're holding your bow. Next, we're going to take the ribbon and just make one simple little loop. It's going to be about 3.5 inches. Now remember, when you're making a bow, that when you start your loops are going to be half the size of the bow. So if you want like a 7-inch bow, then make your loops about 3.5 inches. So that's what I'm going for in this case. So you gather it up, pinch it, tuck it in tight, and then twist it. Now the important part here is the twist, because if you notice when I go back, the back of the ribbon is visible here. So you want to face it again, and by twisting it, we can face it again. And as you see, now I can make my bottom part of this loop, tuck it, gather it in, give it another little twist. Now see how simple that was? And we have 2 loops to our bow. Now notice too, when I'm making this bow, I'm not making the bow where it's going to be facing me forward, because I would have to turn my hand this way and it's not comfortable. So when you're making a bow, you're technically making it sideways. This isn't the top and bottom, it's really the right side and my left side. So remember that it's top and bottom when you're making it, but the bow is going to be rotated. Now we're going to continue, so you need to unroll some more of your ribbon. And we're going to make another loop. Be consistent here. We're going to make it about the same size again. Gather, pinch, and twist, facing that ribbon again. Make a loop down at the bottom. Gather, pinch, and twist. Release some more of the ribbon. Gather, pinch, and twist. And you just keep doing this until you get a very, very full bow. I suggest at least 4 to 5 loops on each side. That will give you a nice bow. I'm going to go back in and add another one up at the top. Repeat that at the bottom. Now, one thing I really like about all of our ribbon at Melrose is the edge on it. Notice the edge here. This edge is a marrow edge, and a marrow edge is ribbon that has either filament or it has a wire along the edge, and it's usually covered with a decorative thread that contrasts or complements the ribbon. Now, why that's important is because when you get done with the bow, it's going to make it so much easier to shape your bow and to keep the shape as you're fluffing it and creating it. Now, we're going to take this and cut it off. I'm only going to do 4 loops on each end. And now I left about 1 foot on this because I want a tail. And I'm going to add another tail, so I'm just going to cut off another piece of the ribbon here. And then take that and add it in also. Now I've got 2 tails. I've got 4 bows up, 4 bows going, loops, not bows, 4 going each direction. We're going to take a wire. The wire now goes across the top. You want to take it right across the middle of the bow. And remember those 2 fingers, your middle finger and your index finger? I'm going to flip this over. You want to bring that wire right in between those 2 fingers, about halfway down, and then bend it from the face of the bow and bring it around and pull it tight, just like a hairpin. See, I've got my 2 wires coming down through the bottom of the bow. Now grab it and twist it, pulling it very, very tight. Those 2 wires will come in handy later for when you want to attach this either to a wreath, a garland, or wherever you're using the bow. But a little bit of shaping and that marrowed edge is perfect to hold its shape, and you have a very beautiful bow to add to any package or to any wreath. This is another bow I want to share with you. It's called the Bozo Bow. When I was a kid, I grew up in the Chicago area, and we had a clown on TV. His name was Bozo. I'm not sure if this bow was named after him or if he was the local clown, and so they called it the Bozo Bow. But it's the Bozo Bow because it has a big center, a big nose right in the middle of the bow. So we're going to start this bow the same way as we started the last one. You're going to take the end of it with the ribbon facing you, gather, tuck, and twist. Now this time, instead of bringing the loop around to the front, we're going to actually bring the loop over our thumb. And we're just going to make a small circular loop. If I turn it that way, you can see it's only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. That's going to be the center of our Bozo Bow. Now, gather, pinch, and twist. Face that ribbon again. And now you begin by adding your loops, just like we did on the other bow. The only difference is we started in the center by giving us a center loop. What I like about this bow too, it works really good on wreaths and garlands, or like if you're adding clusters to a banister, because it almost gives a face to the bow. Where the other bow, it was fuller, and this one sort of has a flat face with a center nose. And the center loop also hides your mechanics because it goes right over the top of the wire, and you don't see the wire or your cable tie or the string. And when you do this kind of bow, you're just doing the same process, except notice in this loop, when I get to loop number 5, we've got 2 up and 2 down. I'm switching sides. I have the 2 loops that are right in the center. I have one that was, if this was a clock, I have one at 2 o'clock, one at 4 o'clock. Now I'm going to put one at 10 and one over at 8. So there's 3 loops on each side. Now I'm going to add the 4th, and when I add the 4th loop, I'm going to bring it right back to the center. Notice my first loop. Now I'm going to add this loop, which is right behind that first loop. And notice I'm exaggerating the length a little bit with each row of loops. So this one's a little longer so that you can see it. And I'll show you the other bow and this one when we get done so you can see the difference. And I'm just going to end it with 4 loops on each side, just like we did the other one. Just straighten out the ribbon here. Again, I'm going to cut the ribbon off about 12 inches or so, so I have a tail. And then another piece. Again, 2 tails. Now I need to tie it off. My wires are handy because I was prepared. Slide it in. Remember, get between those 2 fingers. Bend it like a hairpin. Pull it tight. Give it a good couple of twists just to make it secure. Another bow. This is the Bozo Bow with the center loop. A little bit of fluffing A little bit of shaping in there, and your bow is complete. And this was our original one. Now, see, this one doesn't have a center, and this one does. So that's the difference between a Bozo Bow and just a traditional bow. We have so many beautiful ribbons at Melrose, and some of them are almost just like pieces of beautiful fabric. And this is embroidered, and it's got this beautiful snowflake pattern on it. And I really wanted to use this one and share with you a new technique, or a technique that makes your bow the perfect professional bow. And it's all about the tail. And so on this bow, we're going to start at the end. We're going to make our tails first. Notice the pattern on this ribbon. It's got these snowflakes. I don't want to cut it in the middle of a snowflake, because I want the value here is the snowflakes. So we're going to let the snowflakes be visible. And I'm going to start here by cutting my ribbon in between the snowflakes. And I want 2 tails on my bow. So I'm going to just lay the ribbon out, cut in between the 2 snowflakes. Those are going to be my 2 tails. Now, we're going to take the ribbon now, and I'm going to go towards the bottom. This is going to be the bottom part of my tail. I'm going to cut this tail on a diagonal. I'm going to cut through the marrowed edge and slowly cut a straight line all the way up till you get onto the other edge. Don't cut through it. See? I've got all the way over to that edge. Next, I'm going to take the ribbon and go from the other side. At about a 1/2 inch away from the marrowed edge, we're just going to cut away the middle part of our ribbon, all the way up until the cut. Now that section came out. We're going to repeat this on the other one. Cut it on diagonal all the way up to the edge. Don't cut through. Again, about a 1/2 inch away from the edge. Cut all the way up till you get to that original cut. There. Now what we're going to do, this is where we're going to use our glue gun. Remember, I told you at the beginning, we're going to use our glue gun on a bow. So we're going to take our glue gun and eye it up and see. What we're going to do is bend this ribbon. That marrowed edge that we didn't cut through, we're going to use that like a little hinge, and you're just going to bend it and bring the ribbon over the top and glue it on to the little tab that we created. So let's just get that piece out of the way. We're going to take a little bit of glue here. Just do a nice little straight bead of glue. You can go a little further. I'd rather you have too much glue on than not enough. Bend our edge and then match the ribbon up to the marrowed edge all the way down. Let that dry, and we're going to repeat that same process on our other piece. To diagram the professional edge on our ribbon again, I thought this might help you. We start with our ribbon. Step 1 is to make that diagonal cut, but remember, do not cut through the marrowed edge right there. So make the diagonal cut, then cut all the way up to that cut mark and remove your tab. Then you have the piece here. This is your hinged area, so you make the hinge, give it a slight bend, add the bead of glue, and then bring the ribbon right up to the marrowed edge. Once it dries, take your scissors and cut it off. So simple, but so beautiful as an end result. Now we've created a perfect edge to finish our bow with. The tails, this just professionally finishes it off, and the bow will look great when we get done. Now we're going to go back to our bolt of ribbon, and we're going to start our bow. And we're just going to do a simple bow with just a few little loops. So we pinch, gather, and twist. This is heavier ribbon, and it takes a little bit more strength and effort to make the bow. So we're just going to do a few here. Just a couple on each side, because I don't need that much ribbon or a big large bow, because this is going to make a huge bow. Two loops on both sides. We're going to go in and cut our ribbon off on the back side here, right above where we've got it tucked, and we did face it along the way, so important to do that twist each time. Now we're going to take our tails. We're going to add one tail in going one direction, just pinch and tuck it in. Add the other tail going the other direction. Gather, pinch, and tuck it in. Now to finish it off, we need to tie it. Same process again. It's all just the same mechanics. Slide that wire through your index and your middle finger. Make that hairpin. There we go. And pull it as tight as you can. Give it a few little twists. And your bow is done. A little bit of shaping of your ribbon up at the top, the loops. And notice the professional edge at the bottom. This makes the perfect professional bow. Add a few flowers to it, some Christmas greens, and it's an elegant, very, very beautiful ribbon here is displayed. I'm Ken again from Melrose, and another moment of just taking some of our beautiful ribbon and beautifying your home.